So this game is basically the 1980s, but it's actually set in the future. And I just sat there and I was like, whoa, good to hear everyone. It's me, Void, and I'm back again today to talk about Punch Club 2. Now, I saw this demo during the Steam Next Fest, and I absolutely fell in love with this game. So please, if you'd allow me, we need to gush about this game. We need to talk about this game. So come on, let's get in. Okay, so I discovered this game while I was browsing Steam Next Fest. And I absolutely fell in love with the game from the moment that I saw it. Like, it's all about the aesthetics. It's all about... So this game is basically the 1980s, but it's actually set in the future. And I just sat there and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Like, I didn't realize how cool of an idea that would be, but it actually works really, really well. And it's a time management game, so you have to manage your time, you have to make money, and you're trying to find your father. And your father, some way, the only thing that we know about your father is that he had a police record and he used to fight in a, like, what would you say, underground illegal boxing. So that's basically what you're trying to do. You're basically trying to find your father by, fighting a bunch of dudes in a gym. And you're going to use that in order to do that, you have to go to different places. You have to earn money. You have to level up your skills. But there's a lot of really cool stuff. There's this place where you get to meet a character called Apu, which is clearly a reference to The Simpsons. There's no other character in the world named Apu. Well, I guess the Jungle Book counts, but we don't want to talk about that. But, the game features a pretty interesting combat system where you basically pick the moves and then the game auto-battles for you, which... Well, I mean, I don't know if it's 100% auto-battling. Maybe later on in the game there might be additions. But I actually really like this style of game for this. I feel like this specifically, absolutely amazing. So, you could pick a bunch of different skills. Through the demo, you'll unlock another one called, blocks. Sorry, I didn't mean to do it like that. So yeah, basically this is how the game goes on. It's an auto-battler. You have, it's like a turn-based auto-battler, and the goal is basically to defeat your opponents. Obviously, but, you have a set time frame, and you level up different skills, and the game calls it mastering. So I imagine that in the full game, there'll be a lot more depth to it. There'll be a lot more moves that you could learn in order to really expand your arsenal. So that's basically the combat. That's basically how most of the combat works in this game. But that's not where the game really shines. And I have to admit that this game does a really great job telling stories. And you open the game at home and you have kind of like a deadbeat mom, and she's telling you, oh, your father was a good for nothing man who never do nothing for she. But then you learn, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And then you have all these side quests going on where, you have to help your neighbor get 80s movies, right? And those are old movies. And I was like, yo, I thought this was set in the 80s, but no. As I mentioned before, this game is in the future, but it uses a early 1980s aesthetic. And I'm like, well, I keep saying that, but honestly, it's great. I love the aesthetic, the art style, honestly, amazing. Like, whoever did the art for this game, fantastic. Pat yourself on the back. You did an amazing job here. I'm going to be in love with this game when I get to play this full version of this game. There's a lot of story going on here, and I really do implore you to go and check it out yourself. Now, yeah, let's talk about inventory management for a little bit. So at the core of this, it is a time management simulator. So every action, you have time. It needs time, and not all the things around the city will be available to you at any given point in time. You have to do multiple jobs throughout the city. You could go to the Russian mafia, or you could go to work in a noodle shop, or in this place called a slime farm, where you beat up slimes to get their digestive juices, which you then use as part of poor people food, which is kind of odd. There's a story where you can't eat because your mother, she hates you, so she wants you to suffer. and she told you, I can't sleep, so you can't, so stop making all this noise. So then you go to a supermarket, and Apu gives you drugs to give her, sleeping pills, basically. And it's very tongue-in-cheek way. He's like, I don't sell that, but, that vending machine might, maybe you should go and pop some dollars into that. So the game really introduces a lot of its mechanics pretty organically and as a part of the game. It's really cool, it's really nice, and I really like. I know it may not be coming across well, but I absolutely adore this, and I want to really talk about the music. So yeah, the interface is really nice, really clean, but there's nothing really to write home about. But you know what is to write home about? That absolutely amazing, amazing music. I cannot really fully describe how amazing this music is. It's very 1980s. It has that synthwave, modern synthwave aesthetic. It have the retrowave, the funk. All these things that really define the 1980s soundtrack. At least how we remember it to be. The 1980s has quite a lot of different styles of music. It was pretty much a pretty opulent time in America, so they got a lot of stuff. And the soundtrack is gorgeous. The sound design is really gorgeous. It feels good. When people talk, they do this Animal Crossing style, but it's like this distorted. So you throughout the game, you're gonna counter a lot of the music, a lot of the aesthetic, and I really do like the music. I think that the music really does stand out and really does punch above its weight. I think that for the most part, it really does add to the atmosphere, and I absolutely enjoyed blasting this in. I had the volume turned up while I was playing this game, which isn't the best thing, but I mean it was truly an experience, and I am very grateful for that. There's a lot of other stuff in the game. I haven't really touched on some of the core mechanics. Well, when I mean the core mechanics, the core story. So there's a lot of other stories going on around. Every single aspect of this game has multiple stories. The Russian mafia is there, the noodle man is there, and while you're there, the noodle man, there's this police, and this police is there, and he's like, oh, maybe it's connected to the police station missions, and it is connected to the police station missions, and you have to become a police in order to access the files for your father, as well as working through the gyms and working through the, well, not the gyms, but working through the fight ladder, so that you could get to that point where you are able to find out more about your father. There's a lot of nice little hidden references here and there to old 1980s aesthetics and cartoons and TVs and movies, and I'm just absolutely in love with it. And I can't fully explain to you why I absolutely love this, but to me, everything just works. And I know that a lot of people might be a little bit more critical of, maybe the art style is a little off, but even the stuff in the background, they're moving, and it's not the same sequence of events, but it very well might be, but it is different, and it is so much to do. So much to do. There's so much to learn about these different people, and you get a small taste of it in the demo. I'm a little bit all over the place, but I think you understand what I mean by that. It's a lot of stuff. Is very much a narrative heavy game, and everything just comes alive. I want to learn more about these characters. The achievements feel really good to get. The backgrounds feel alive with pulsing, with all of this energy, with all of this life, and it's such an odd thing, this aesthetic. I didn't think that we could continue this aesthetic, this 1980s retrowave aesthetic, and yet here we are. It is continuing, and there's a lot. I'm sure that there's a lot left in here that we can do. That would obviously the demo isn't going to show us. I really do think that this game is fantastic. So that was Punch Club 2. I really do think that you need to go and that you need to play this game. It's free on Steam right now, and I think you need to check it out. I think that without a doubt, this is going to be a sleeper hit for me personally. I don't know if anybody else will be very interested in it, but I do love the aesthetic, and everything about it just feels so good. And it just feels, there's a sense of comfort here, but at the same time, you know, it has gameplay here. There's something that really feels good to play. The mechanics feel good. The art looks amazing. The music just binds everything together. The sound design, everything. I am gushing about this game because I do think this game is worth something, and I will be playing it. Who knows? Maybe I'll be doing a full review of this in later on when I get it. So thank you all very much for taking time to listen to me rave about this demo. I really do think that it's a lot of fun and that you should check it out. So please, if you want to see more of this, please subscribe. Also, if you made it this far down in the video, please put a 1980s inspired emoji in the comment section. I don't know what that might be. Maybe shades, perhaps? Yes, and tell me what was your favorite 1980s piece of media. And subscribe for more, I also have a Patreon, so if you want to get listed in my credit section, feel free to go to the Patreon. I'm very happy for you all to join. I have more things planned, so thank you all very much for listening to me rave about this game. The Void called, and you all answered. I am thankful.